Shri Vishakan Vitamshta. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhishta Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you all for our weekly class. Today we were supposed to discuss the Bhagavad-Gita, but today being Bhishmashtami, today is the disappearance day of Bhishma Dev. So we thought we'll discuss something from the life of Bhishma Dev, and especially his final days, which comes in the Bhagavatam, first canto, 9th chapter, how Bhishma Dev departed from this world. So our Vedic scriptures, especially the Gita, Bhagavad, teaches us both how to live in this world and how to leave this world, how to live life and how to perfect death. Both life, so both life and death, how we can perfect both. Krishna tells in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samshaya. So Krishna says, whoever remembers me at the time of death, such a person can definitely come back to me. And Bhishma Dev is the perfect example of a perfect departure. I mean, what kind of death Bhishma Dev had? A glorious death. Seeing Krishna right in front of him, glorifying Krishna with the greatest saints around the universe. The Pandavas, Narad Muni, Vyasdev, all of them come there. Bhishma Dev, in that holy presence, he departs from this world. A glorious departure. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he would say, Bhajan kaile, Kirtan kaile, Martya janla hoy. Says how much bhajan and how much kirtan we have done or how much bhakti we have done will be tested at the time of death. Right? And Bhishma Dev's example is like an aspiration for all devotees. If we can live our life like that, it's the perfection actually. So Bhishma Dev is one of our Mahajans. We have 12 Mahajans, Brahmaji, Shivaji, Narada, Bali Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Yamaraj, like that. And Bhishma Dev is one of them. And Bhishma Dev is also a very beautiful example because Bhishma Dev was a very practical person. The life of Bhishma Dev we can discuss in detail some other time. We'll be discussing more from the Bhagavatam now, the 9th chapter, the first canto. But if you study the Mahabharata, Bhishma Dev is one personality who's there throughout the Mahabharata. Right from the Adi Parva till the last final Parva, practically everywhere Bhishma Dev is there. So he is into politics. He is into Rajniti completely. And even though being in an environment where there is politics and he has so much responsibility, he kept doing his devotion to Krishna. So Krishna in the same 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha mai arpito mano buddhir mam evasyasi asamshaya. So someone may say, if I have to remember Krishna, should I have to become a brahmachari, a sannyasi? No. Bhishma Dev is a perfect example for all of us, where he carried out all his responsibilities in life. But while carrying out those responsibilities, he didn't give up his bhakti to Krishna. He didn't give up thinking about Krishna. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. So Krishna says one should always remember him. So the Vedic rules and regulations in essence are only two. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So if we can try to live our life like this, then we also can achieve a perfection and achieve a perfect death like Bhishma Dev. So Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavatam when we see the example of Bhishmadev, he died in such a perfect way. We may feel that, oh, Bhishmadev is a great Mahajan. I am a very small personality. But these examples are there in the scriptures so that we can also follow in their footsteps. We can also have a glorious death. And also, if you study the life of Bhishmadev, he was in this bed of arrows, lying in this battlefield of Kurukshetra, thinking about Krishna. But he couldn't go to Krishna because he was just stuck in that one place. But Krishna is so merciful. Krishna comes to Bhishmadev. In fact, the Mahabharata explains that after the war, uh, Krishna is sitting in the palace of Yudhishthir in Hastinapur, and Krishna is meditating. So Yudhishthir comes to the room of Krishna and he sees Krishna meditating. And Yudhishthir is asking Krishna, my dear Lord, we all meditate on you. Whom are you meditating on? Krishna says, I am meditating on Bhishmadev. Because right now, just in few moments, Bhishmadev is going to depart. So he's been such a great devotee of mine. He's constantly thinking of me. So I'm constantly thinking of him. Krishna tells in the Bhagavad-Gita, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dvesho sthina priya ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mayi te teshu chapiham. Krishna says, I'm neutral to all, but those devotees who have surrendered to me, I am in them and they are in me. So Krishna was constantly in the heart of Bhishmadev and Bhishmadev was constantly in the heart of Krishna. So therefore, knowing that this devotee of his cannot come to him in his final moments, Krishna comes to Bhishmadev. This is how merciful Krishna is. There is a very beautiful shloka in the Varaha Puran in which Varahadev is telling Bhudevi, and Bhudevi, who's earth, Dharti, she is asking Varahadev, my dear Lord, if my children, if all the living entities in this world, the human beings, cannot remember you at the time of death, so Bhishmadev's example is a great example for all of us. If we can, please let me know if my voice is okay. Huh? At any time, if my voice is cracking, please put a text message so that I can switch the network. Okay? So, Bhishmadev's example is a very hope-giving example for all of us. If we can live life as sincerely doing bhakti as much as our capacity is, as much as we can, then definitely Krishna will come to us at the final moment. Definitely it will happen, right? And this is a story 5,000 contemporary times where Krishna has come to the rescue of his devotees in the final moments. So it is important that we have faith in Krishna and we practice bhakti sincerely. What is going to happen at the time of death, we don't have any control of. Correct? Bhishmadev was on the bed of arrows. We may be in some other situation. We don't have control of. What we have control of is the life now. So if we can live in as much Krishna consciousness as possible, trying to devote ourselves in the service of the Lord, then definitely in that final moment, the Lord will be there. Just like he came for Bhishmadev, the Lord will come to us in various ways, in the form of his holy name, in the form of his devotees. In some way or the other, the Lord will come and he will be there escorting us back to the spiritual world. So with that introduction, we will try to get into a little from the 9th chapter of the first canto of Bhagavatam. It's a long chapter, but we will see how far we can go. So this 9th chapter is like the passing away of Bhishma. This chapter begins with, when the battlefield of Kurukshetra is over, Yudhishthir voice is breaking. Okay. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll just change my network. Okay? Just give me 2 minutes. Okay. Is my voice better now? Can someone text me and tell? Okay, voice is okay. Okay. Just 1 minute, huh? Okay. So I'm sorry for that. Okay. So the ninth chapter of the first canto begins with explaining how Yudhishthir, after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Yudhishthir is so despondent. He feels that I am the cause of the killing of so many people. It's because of me so many people have been killed. So Yudhishthir is such a great soul, even though he is not the cause of this war. This war happened because of the obstinacy of Duryodhan. But Yudhishthir is taking the responsibility of the killing of the massacre on himself. So this is how a great devotee is. Devotee takes responsibility. Even though something may be a failure or there is some fault in the society, he feels that it's because of me. So Yudhishthir was such a great soul. He was not getting convinced only. Vyasdev comes and tells Yudhishthir, no, it's not because of you, it's because of Duryodhan. But Yudhishthir is not getting convinced. Vidura tries to convince Yudhishthir. Krishna tries to convince Yudhishthir. The Pandavas, Draupadi tried to convince Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir is still feeling so despondent. He's feeling so bad. Even though he is victorious in the war, Yudhishthir is still not ready to sit on the throne. In fact, Yudhishthir is telling Bhima and Arjuna, you all sit on the throne, I'll go to the forest. So Bhima and Arjuna are feeling we have fought so much and you're not sitting on the throne. So this is the point where Krishna tells Yudhishthir that let us go to Bhishma Dev and Bhishma Dev will convince you. So the glory of Bhishma Dev is that what Krishna couldn't do, Bhishma Dev is supposed to do now. So the Lord wants to give credit to his devotees. He wants to give credit. He doesn't mind becoming a failure. He has failed to convince Yudhishthir, but he wants Bhishma to convince, and he wants the credit to be taken by Bhishma Dev. So all the brothers and Yudhishthir follow uh, and go on their chariots to the battlefield of Kurukshetra where Bhishma is lying down. And Krishna also follows, right? And it is explained that Krishna requested Yudhishthir wear royal clothes and go. Generally, when someone is about to die, you don't wear your best clothes and go. But Krishna knew what is in the heart of Bhishma. So Bhishma was feeling so bad that the Pandavas have suffered so much because of the injustice of Duryodhan. Even though he fought on the side of the Kauravas, even though he fought on the side of Duryodhan, his heart was always with the Pandavas. He knew that they were very virtuous. So he wanted to see them get the throne. He wanted to see that the royal throne goes in the right hand. Because Bhishma Dev sacrificed his entire life for the throne of Hastinapur. His entire life has gone into that. So naturally, he wants to see that the throne of Hastinapur is in the right hand. So, knowing that this is what Bhishma Dev wants, Krishna tells Yudhishthir, let us go in the best dress. So all of them wear costly ornaments, wear royal dress, and they go to meet Bhishma Dev. And it is explained that not only the Pandavas, Krishna, but all the sages around the world come. Parvat Muni, Narada Muni, Dhaumya, Vyasa, Bharadwaj, Parshuram, Vashishta, Asita, Kaushika, Atri, Gautama, Sudarshana, all the rishis come. Can you imagine what is the caliber of Bhishma Dev? What is this caliber? That all the sages in the world assemble there, right? And it's not that there is a notice circulated. It's not that there's invitations given everywhere. The sages knew that this is such an important event. Such a great soul like Bhishma Dev is going to depart. So when a great soul departs, he gives great lessons also. So all of them wanted to be there in those final moments. Just like when Srila Prabhupada was in his final moments, in the final days in Vrindavan, so many devotees around the world left everything to be with Prabhupada, because they knew that this is a very auspicious opportunity for us to see the departure of a great soul, right? And to hear the last words of wisdom. So all these personalities came there just to be with Bhishma Dev in his most important moment. So this is a Vaishnav community. This is a society of Vaishnavas where all the Vaishnavas are ready to help each other, especially in the final moments of life. In ISKCON, we have Srila Prabhupada's very senior disciple, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. A couple of years ago, he left this world. So when he had this final months in which he was detected terminal cancer, he requested his best friend Radhanath Swami to be with him. So Radhanath Maharaj gave up all his other engagements that he had. He had a lot of engagements lined up. He just cancelled everything so that the last few months, the last few moments of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's life, he could be there. So this is a very wonderful example in the Vaishnava community where, especially when someone is going through a transition, when someone is going through a very crucial phase, right, devotees come to help each other. So all these sages who are mentioned here, they are all great personalities. Parvat Muni, Narad Muni, all of them have disciples of their own in thousands. Right? Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, but still they just gave up everything in order to be there with Bhishma Dev in his final, most important moment of his life. So when Bhishma Dev sees that all these sages have come and Krishna has come, the Pandavas have come, Bhishma Dev is so cultured. Even in that position, he welcomes everyone. Even though he can't get up, with his words, with his eyes, with his feelings, he welcomes everyone. So this is a great personality that even though he may be going through suffering of his own, still his culture is intact in him. The kind of service attitude that he has is still intact in him. Why? Because it is ingrained in his system. So Bhishma Dev was such a great personality. Even in that situation, he welcomed everyone. And he especially welcomed Krishna. So it is mentioned here, the 10th verse of this 9th chapter, Krishnam Chatat Prabhavagya Asinam Vrishwam Hridistam Pujayamasha Mayu Yapata Vigraham. It is said that Lord Krishna is situated in everyone's heart as the Paramatma, right? But that same Krishna has come in front of Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev is so grateful for having Krishna in front of him, for Krishna having come there in his final moment. So Bhishma Dev is feeling so very, very grateful in his life. He's not feeling that, oh, what has happened to me? I've been such a great devotee, but the Lord has put so many arrows in my body. No. A devotee means, even when he goes through suffering, his gratitude to the Lord and to the devotees always remains. So Bhishma Dev is so grateful that he's glorifying Krishna, and he's so happy that Krishna, who is the Paramatma within my heart, has heard my prayer and is actually come in his personal form. So Bhishma Dev, even in that position, he worshipped the Lord. And then after Bhishma Dev welcomes everyone, the sons of Pandu, the Pandavas, they're feeling so bad seeing Bhishma Dev. Because for the Pandavas, Bhishma Dev was everything for them. Because when they were small children, their father died, Pandu died. So that time, Bhishma took care of these children as if they were his own children. So Bhishma Dev was just not a grandfather to them. Bhishma Dev was a grandfather, was a father, was a well-wisher, was practically everything for the Pandavas. So the Pandavas were feeling so overwhelmed. They were silent. They couldn't speak anything because they had so much love and affection for Bhishma Dev. But Bhishma Dev starts to speak. We we recently, just few days last week, we had gone to Gokul Dham. We met Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj. And Maharaj, when we arrived there, Maharaj was giving a Bhagavatam class. So he was explaining what should be the quality of speech. So he was saying Lord Ram had different quality, different attributes of his speech. One attribute was he was the first to begin speaking. In any conversation, Lord Ram would begin the conversation. So all the Pandavas have come here and Bhishma Dev is in this bed of arrows. But the Pandavas are silent. They don't know what to say to Bhishma Dev. They're so overwhelmed with their own emotions and feelings. Bhishma Dev starts to speak. And these are the most beautiful set of verses. Bhishma Dev is telling the Pandavas and especially Yudhishthir, Aho kashtam, aho nyayam, yad yuyam dharmanandana, jivatum nartaha krishtam, vipra dharma chutashrayah. So Bhishma Dev tells, oh my dear Pandavas, oh my dear Yudhishthir, what suffering, aho kashtam, aho anyayam. What kind of injustice and what kind of suffering you all have undergone, right? So if you think about this, the Pandavas, the amount of suffering and injustice done to them is unimaginable. Bhishma Dev also is feeling that pain. Such kind of suffering for innocent children, too much. And he says there, even though they are yad yuyam dharmanandana, even though they are the sons of demigods, the sons of Dharmaraj, still they have to suffer. So many people have this question, Are, I have taken up to the process of Krishna consciousness, why there is suffering? But here you have the example of the Pandavas. Even though Krishna was their best friend, Krishna was their cousin, Krishna was everything for them, still they underwent suffering. But the beauty of the Pandavas is they didn't complain. Neither did Bhishma Dev complain. When Arjuna shot those arrows in the body of Bhishma Dev, it is explained that there was no space for even 2 fingers to pass between each arrow. Throughout his body, arrow was filled. Can you imagine the kind of pain that Bhishma Dev might be undergoing? We can't even imagine, right? And it was not just arrow just touching, through and through the arrow as pierced. But still Bhishma Dev, he's not complaining. The first word he's not saying, my dear Krishna, why did this happen to me? No complaints. Rather, he's thinking about the suffering of the Pandavas. He's not thinking about his suffering. He's not saying, my dear Pandavas, I'll tell you my story of my suffering. No. He's thinking of the Pandavas and he's saying that, oh, great souls, you all are the sons of Dharmaraj, but still you all have to undergo so much suffering, even though there is no fault of yours. So why is Bhishma telling this? Because Yudhishthir was feeling that I am the cause of this war. So Bhishma is telling Yudhishthir, Aho anyayam. There was injustice done to you. You are not the cause of the war. And then he says, actually, you all were supposed to be killed long back. There were so many ways, so many attempts made to kill you all. Bhima was given poison. They were tried to be burnt in that, house of lac. So many ways there were plots being made to kill them. But then he says, 3 things protected the Pandavas: Vipra, Dharma, Achyuta, Ashraya. So these 3 things are very, very important. Ashraya means protected, shelter. So the Pandavas, who were destined to be killed in so many ways, they escaped all those killings due to 3 reasons. Due to the blessings of Brahmanas, Vipra; Dharma, due to the blessings of Dharma, following the truthful path; of religion, and Achyut Ashraya, due to the blessings of Krishna. So Bhishma Dev acknowledges that because he is a great Mahajan, he is one of the greatest learned personalities. He has personally learned from Brihaspati. So he tells the Mandavas that because you all have the blessings of the Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas, you all have the blessings of Krishna, and you all are following the right path. Therefore, you all were protected. So in our lives also, if we can remain under the protection of these three things, the Vaishnavas, the Brahmanas, protection of Krishna, and following the path of religion, even though it may be difficult, right? Still, if we stick to the path of religion, definitely we will attain protection. Whatever obstacles come, we can overcome it. Then he says, what to speak of y'all? Your mother Kunti, the kind of suffering she has undergone, you know, as a married wife, she had to, in a young age, her husband died, Pandu died. As a widow, she suffered. Raising all of y'all was not easy. One single mother raising 5 children, and that too in such an hostile atmosphere. It was not easy for Kunti. And not only that, after the Pandavas grew also, Kunti didn't see any happiness, still suffering. They had to go 13 years to the forest, away from the mother. So much suffering the Kunti underwent. So Bhishma Dev is sympathetic to and empathetic to the suffering of Kunti also. So these are great souls where they connect, they have compassion in their hearts, and they connect to the sufferings of others, especially the other Vaishnavas, para dukkha dukhi. So now someone may say, the Pandavas, Krishna is their best friend, Krishna is their cousin. Why they have to undergo so much suffering? So Bhishma Dev gives this answer. Sarva kala kritam manye bhavatam yad apriyam sapalo yad vashe loko vayuriva ganavali. He says, in my opinion, if you ask me why you all have to undergo suffering, in my opinion, sarva kala kritam manye. This is due to inevitable time. Everyone has to face time. Time is the most powerful factor. And time here basically means Krishna for all of us. That means we need to have faith in Krishna's plan. We can't question why is this happening. So to this question why, there is no satisfactory answer. The only thing we need is faith in Krishna's plan. So therefore he says, even though, just look at this. He's saying here, Yatra dharma suto raja gadapanir vrikodaraha Krishna stri gandiva chapam surat Krishna tato vipat. He's saying, just look at this combination, Yudhishthir. You have Bhima and Arjuna as your brothers. Bhima is the greatest fighter, club fighter, and Arjuna is the greatest bowman. You have Lord Krishna as your well-wisher. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, Yudhishthir had both spiritual and material resources. Bhima and Arjuna represent material resources and Krishna represents spiritual resources. In spite of that, Yudhishthir had to suffer. That means it is due to the plan of the Lord. Right? One has to have faith in the plan of the Lord. In the next verse he says, Nahi asya karhichit rajan puma veda vidit satam yad vigyayasya yukta muyyanti kavayopihi. He says, no one can know the plan of the Lord. Even great philosophers cannot understand. So rather than understanding the plan of the Lord, better is to surrender to the plan of the Lord. So Bhishma is telling Yudhishthir, you all had to suffer. That was the plan of the Lord. Now that same Lord wants you to enjoy and sit on the throne. So please cooperate with his plan. So the Lord may have different plans for us. Sometimes suffering may come in our life, Lord's plan, Krishna Ichcha. Sometimes happiness may come in life, Krishna Ichcha, Krishna's Kripa. So a devotee sees everything as Krishna's mercy. Some punishment comes in life, we see that as Krishna's mercy. Some happiness comes in life, we see that as Krishna's mercy. Whatever Krishna's mercy, we accept it. Right? Whatever the grace of the Lord. When Haridas Thakur, just like Bhishma Dev left his body, the same perfect departure Haridas Thakur had. seeing Lord Chaitanya with the devotees chanting the holy names, Haridas Thakur left this world in Jagannath Puri. So in the final days, on the last day of Haridas Thakur's life, Lord Chaitanya comes to Haridas Thakur and he's asking Haridas Thakur, my dear Haridas, what is the news? What is the samachar for today? Haridas says, my dear Lord, whatever is your wish, whatever is your desire, and whatever is your mercy, that is the news for today. So a devotee means he's ready to accept the plan of the Lord, whatever it may be. Whether we stay in a hut, we stay in a palace, we accept whatever it comes. Okay? So therefore he tells Yudhishthir, you should definitely cooperate with the plan of the Lord and rule the kingdom, because the kingdom needs a king. For so many years it has been deprived. Duryodhana has been ruling. So please sit on the throne and rule. Now take care of the subjects, right? And then Bhishma Dev explains the various kinds of duties that a king should do. He explains all the different kinds of duties. The verse comes here. What all things that he tells Yudhishthir, Dana Dharma, Raja Dharma, Moksha Dharman, Vibhagasha, Stri Dharman, Bhagavad Dharman, Samasya Vyasa Yogata. So Bhishma Dev, for 56 days, every day is giving a talk. Can you imagine this? I mean, to give a pravachan, you give a pravachan sitting on a comfortable seat, there's good fan, AC. Bhishma Dev is giving a pravachan in the bed of arrows. Lying on the bed of arrows, he's giving a pravachan because Krishna wanted him to speak. So the Mahabharata explains that when Krishna is requesting Bhishma Dev, please instruct Yudhishthir, because Krishna knew that Bhishma Dev had so much knowledge, so much wisdom throughout his life that he has gathered. So before he departs, Krishna wants that all that wisdom to go to Yudhishthir. So Krishna tells Bhishma Dev, my dear Bhishma, you please instruct. And Bhishma Dev is feeling so shy. How can I speak in front of Krishna? It's so embarrassing. In front of the Supreme Lord, how can you speak? The speaker of the Bhagavad-Gita, how can you speak in front of him? But Krishna tells Bhishma Dev, no, it's my order, you speak. And Bhishma Dev tells the Lord, my dear Lord, I'm feeling so weak. My voice is hardly audible. How will I speak? The Lord blesses Bhishma that till you depart, I give you the strength to speak with full power, and you will not feel any pain of the arrows. So by Krishna's mercy, Bhishma Dev begins his pravachan. This verse is there in the scriptures. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girihim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. So anything is possible by the mercy of the Lord. A lame man can cross over mountains, a dumb man can speak. Bhishma Dev, lying on the bed of arrows, can give a pravachan, not for 1 day, 2 days, for 56 days continuous, from morning to night, evening. And every day for those 56 days, the Pandavas would come and Krishna would come and all the sages would come to hear Bhishma Dev speaking. They just left everything to hear from Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma Dev was speaking so much. He had so much knowledge. He spoke on practically every topic. He spoke on Dhana Dharma, Raja Dharma, Moksha Dharma, Stri Dharma, Bhagavad Dharma. Everything he spoke. What is the duty of a king? How one should give charity? How one should attain liberation? What is the duty of a woman? What is the duty of Vaishnavas? Everything he spoke. That was the greatness of Bhishma Dev. So it is explained that when Bhishma sees that Supreme Lord Krishna in front of him, so before he starts to speak, he glorifies Krishna. So in his heart, Bhishma had so much love for Krishna, so much affection for Krishna. He was such a great devotee of the Lord. He says, Esha vai Bhagavan Sakshat Adyo Narayana Puman Mohayan Mayaya Lokam Gudas Charati Vrishnisu. He says, this Krishna who is standing in front of us is Adyo Narayana Puman. He is the source of even Narayan. He is the original Narayan, Moola Narayan. And he is Bhagavan Sakshat. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So Bhishma had this conviction that Krishna is not an ordinary personality. In fact, in the Rajasuya Yagya, when Yudhishthir, where he has this kingdom called Indraprastha, and he performs this Rajasuya Yagya. Rajasuya Yagya is like a super excellent yagya that anyone can do. Generally, it's not possible for any king from the earthly realm to do it. But Yudhishthir did this. And in the Rajasuya Yagya, you select the greatest personality and you offer him the first argya. So there was like voting going on. People were saying Bhishma is the greatest personality. Someone was saying some other name. But then Bhishma said, no, the greatest personality is Krishna. Krishna is the supreme personality. And then with the sanction of Bhishma, Krishna was given that first argya. So Bhishma has this conviction, Eshavai Bhagavan Sakshat. This Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Adyo Narayana Puman. He is the original Narayan. And he's come in front of us and is bewildering all of us. Just like someone who performs a drama, similarly, Lord Krishna is performing a drama of being a human, like a human. But he is not a human. He is the original personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada writes here, you all can go back and go through the purport. Prabhupada says here, this is an authority. Bhishma is not an ordinary person. He is an authority. He is a Mahajan. So he is telling us that Krishna is that supreme personality of Godhead. Bhagavan Sakshat. Krishna is that supreme personality of Godhead. So we have to listen from authorities. Mahajano yena gata sapanta. So Krishna is God. Is not what ISKCON is saying. This is there in the scriptures. Shankaracharya says, Narayano Paravyaktat. He says there is no one superior to Narayan. So there are so many quotations from the scriptures which show us that Krishna is the supreme Lord. Brahmaji says this, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So Bhishma Dev is pouring out his heart in his final moments. He's forgotten all his Kshatriya duties now, because everyone has to come to a certain point in life. We may have certain all responsibilities, but at a certain phase we have to drop responsibilities and focus on Krishna. We need to do that. So Bhishma Dev now he focuses on that supreme Lord and is glorifying Krishna to his fullest to his fullest satisfaction, right from the core of his heart. He says, Asyanu Bhavan Bhagavan Veda Guya Tamam Shivaha Devarishi Narada Sakshat Bhagavan Kapilo Nripa. He says, my dear Yudhishthir, I know the glories of Krishna, but along with me, Lord Shiva, Narada, Kapila, all of them know the glories of the Lord. Veda Guya Tamam Shivaha. So Shiva, Narada, Brahmaji, Kapila, all of them know Krishna. So Prabhupada writes here, there are 12 great devotees of the Lord. These are called 12 Mahajans. Brahma, Narada, Shiva, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Prahlada, Bhishma, Janaka, Shukdev Goswami, Bali Maharaj and Yamaraj. All of them are Mahajans. And all of them know Krishna. Even though understanding Krishna fully is not possible, but all of them know to a great extent. So we need to accept this wisdom that Bhishma Dev is giving, because he's a great soul. This conviction that we need to develop, that Krishna is that supreme personality of Godhead. He is not an ordinary person. And then he continues, Yam manyase matuleyam priyam mitram surattamam akroho shachivam dutam sauradat atasaratim. He says, my dear Yudhishthir, that personality Krishna, whom you thought is your cousin, your friend, your messenger, your counselor, your well-wisher, he is not an ordinary personality. Due to his mercy, he has accepted all these roles. So Krishna, has so much love for his devotees that Krishna is ready to do anything for the pleasure of his devotees. For the Pandavas, Krishna became the messenger, Krishna became their driver, Krishna became their counselor, their well-wisher, their friend, their bed, their pillow, everything Krishna became. And for Bhishma Dev, Krishna is coming and standing. It's not that when Bhishma Dev is speaking, it's not that there is a chair given to Krishna. Krishna is standing there and hearing the lecture of Bhishma Dev. So, Krishna has so much love for his devotees, he is ready to do anything for the pleasure of his devotees. So in this way, Bhishmadev is glorifying and telling Yudhishthir that this is not an ordinary personality. And now coming back to his personal life, he says, Tatapi ekant bhakteshu pashya bhupanukampitam yanme shum styajata sakshat Krishno darshanam agata. So he says, Krishna is equally kind to everyone. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. He's kind to everyone. But still, Krishna is so mercifully come to Bhishmadev. So Bhishmadev in this verse is so grateful to the Lord. He says that this Supreme Lord, who's the master of everyone, he so graciously come to me at the fag end of my life. So the Lord didn't forget me. Right? So this is a very, very important realization. Right? When we do bhakti, we may feel sometimes whether the Lord remembers us or not. But Bhishmadev is saying, Lord Krishna has not forgotten me. In the final moments of my life, he has come here because I am his eternal servitor. And then here he is glorifying Krishna. He says, Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam Kalevaram Yavat Idam Himoniyaham Prasanna Hasanura Lochana San Bhukamboja Dhyana Patas Chaturbuja. He says that this Lord who has 4 hands, was a beautiful face, he has eyes that is red like the sun. He's come in my final moments and he's awaiting me. Krishna is waiting for me. Just like now in Pandharpur, you have this form of Vittal. Vittal is standing on the brick with his hands on his hips, waiting for all of us. So here Bhishmadev is saying, Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam. So that Supreme Lord, the master of all demigods, is waiting for me. Right? This is the beauty of the Lord. The Lord is waiting for each of us. It is explained that in the Brihad Bhagavatamrit it comes, when a living entity goes back to the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, Krishna is waiting in the outskirts to receive all of us. So that is how Krishna is merciful, ready to wait for each of us, ready to sacrifice so much for the pleasure of all his devotees. And then Bhishmadev, after speaking all the various kinds of questions that Yudhishthir had, the duties of a king and everything, how one should rule, Bhishmadev explained everything. And then finally, he focuses on Krishna because he sees that the time has come. Right? So on this day, Bhishmashtami, Bhishmadev notices that he had the Shakti of Ichchamaran. He could choose his time of death. He saw that the time has come. Uttarayana started. So he stops speaking all the other subjects and he focuses on Krishna. So this verse comes, Sutta Goswami is saying here, Tadopasamhritya Gira Sahasranir Vimukta Sangam Manam Adi Purushe Krishne Lasat Pita Pate Chaturbuje Purastite Milita Drag Vyadarayat. That person, Bhishma, who spoke on thousands of subjects with thousands of meanings, who fought on thousands of battles and protected thousands of men, stopped speaking and withdrew his mind and focused his eyes on Krishna and started to glorify Krishna. So as I told you, we all need to come to a certain point. We may have different duties, we may have various achievements, but the most important achievement is to remember Krishna at the time of death. Ante Narayana Smriti, Antakale cha Mameva, Swaran Muktva Kalevaram. We have to focus on remembering Krishna. That means we have to give up all the other subjects and focus fully on Krishna. So Bhishmadev, this personality who spoke on thousands of subjects, spoke to thousands of men, fought thousands of wars, defeated Parshuram, did so many things, just stopped everything and started to focus on Krishna. And in his pure meditation, he starts to glorify Krishna. So this point on is the most beautiful set of verses where Bhishmadev is glorifying Krishna in this final moments. He's pouring his heart out. Shri Bhishma Uvacha Iti Matir Upakalpita Vitrishna Bhagavati Satvata Pungave Vibhumni Swasuke upagate kvachit vihartum prakritim upeyushi yad bhava pravaha. He says, my dear Lord, now let me invest my thinking, feeling, willing, which were engaged in so many subjects in Krishna. So Bhishma Dev has this desire that, my dear Lord, I've been thinking about so many things. I've been engrossed in politics, doing all the Kshatriya duties, and it's been so stressful for me. My dear Lord, I want to stop all this now. I want to invest my thinking, feeling, willing. I want to invest my thought, my emotion, my desires in you. Because you are the master, you are the leader of all the devotees, right? And you come in this world to enjoy pastimes, right? And to protect the devotees and to annihilate the demons. And then Bhishma Dev is glorifying the beauty of Krishna. In text 33, he says, Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamala Varnam Ravikara Gauravara Ambaram Dadane Vapur Alaka Kulavratanabjam Vijaya Sake Ratir Astume Navadya. He says, this Krishna, who's an intimate friend of Arjuna, has appeared in this world in a blue color form. Tribhuvana Kamanam. He's come in this most desirable form to attract all the three worlds. And what is this color? Tamala Varnam. He's bluish in color. And he's wearing a pitambar dress. And he is riding this chariot. And he's become the chariot driver of Arjuna. And he says, may this Krishna always remain the object of my attraction. So just like all of us have a Ishtadev, right? Someone may love Balaji, someone may love Vittal. So for Bhishma Dev, his Ishtadev was Partha Sarthi, Krishna riding the chariot, because Bhishma Dev was in Viryaras. So yesterday, I was having a small discussion with some group of devotees. So one devotee there was asking, we see only Krishna playing flute. Where is the Murti of Krishna holding Sudarshan Chakra in his Kshatriya form? Bhishma Dev wanted that form. Bhishma Dev was definitely attracted to the flute playing of Krishna, but his main worshipable deity was Krishna in the Rath as a chariot driver of Arjuna. Krishna in the Kshatriya form. So he says, let that Lord be the object of my attraction. And then he remembers one scene. Yudhi Turaga Rajo Vidumbra Vishwak Kucha Lulita Shramavadi Alankritashe Mama Nishita Sharer Vidyamana Twachi Vilas Twache Stu Krishna Atma. Says on that battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna's hair was flowing with dust from the hoof print of the horses. And then there was sweat in Krishna's body, right? And all this, and there were wounds. Bhishma Dev shot arrows on Krishna's body and there was some blood coming out. And all this made Krishna more attractive. So this is one scene that Bhishma is remembering. So the pastime is like this, that Duryodhan one day during the 18 days of war, he comes and taunts Bhishma. And he tells Bhishma Dev that you're not fighting to your full capacity. You're still soft-hearted towards the Pandavas. So Bhishma Dev takes a vow that tomorrow morning I will kill all the 5 Pandavas. He takes 5 arrow, blesses it, offers prayers to it, empowers it. And the next day, Duryodhan takes those arrows. And the next day in the morning, Bhishma Dev is asking those 5 arrows. But then Duryodhan says that Arjuna took it. So Krishna sends Arjuna to the camp of Duryodhan and Arjuna takes those 5 arrows. So Bhishma Dev becomes so angry. I had made a promise that I will kill the 5 Pandavas, but because of Krishna, I am not able to keep my promise. So I will fight in such a way that either Arjuna will die or Krishna will have to break his promise. And what was Krishna's promise? That he will not lift weapons. So Bhishma Dev fought so strongly that Arjuna was about to be killed. So Krishna got down from the chariot. Krishna even forgot to call the Sudarshan Chakra. He took out the wheel of the chariot and went running to kill Bhishma. And Bhishma Dev is seeing this form of Krishna. His hair is flowing. Dust from the battlefield all over Krishna. Krishna has become dusty and muddy. Sweat coming from Krishna's body. and Bhishma Dev has shot arrows, blood is also coming out. But in all this, Krishna is looking more beautiful. Generally, if you are dusty and there is sweat and blood, you don't look beautiful. But Krishna is looking all the more beautiful. And this Krishna, this scene, Bhishma Dev is meditating on. So when Bhishma Dev saw that scene, Krishna coming to kill him, Bhishma Dev registered that scene, soaked that scene so much. This became his meditation. So when we go to Tirth Yatras, when we see the deities of the Lord, we should try to internalize those pictures. This should become what is there in our chitta. Right? In the final moments, we can remember all those pastimes, all those lila sthalis. Right? So it's important that we grasp it. So Bhishma Dev was so attracted to this form of Krishna, he's remembering this. And then he says that this Krishna, just by his glance, he reduced the duration of the Kauravas. Let my mind always be on him. So Krishna, it is not that the Pandavas killed the Kauravas. Krishna looked at the Kauravas and immediately their life reduced. In this way, Bhishma Dev is remembering different scenes and glorifying Krishna. He is remembering different pastimes of Krishna that he has seen, and he is connecting to those pastimes, meditating on those pastimes, and is praying to the Lord, my dear Lord, let me always remain attracted to you. Let my attraction be towards your lotus feet. So this is the only prayer of a devotee. A devotee's only aspiration is, my dear Lord, I don't want to forget you. Death is coming, there is no problem for me, because death is going to come anyway. My only prayer is, I don't fear death. I fear forgetting you. Let me always remember you. And then he remembers that how Krishna spoke the battlefield, spoke Bhagavad-Gita in order to deliver Arjuna, in order to remove the ignorance of Arjuna. He says, Vyavahita pratana mukam nirikshya swajana vadat mukasya dosha buddhya kumatim arhad atma vidyasyash charana rati pramasya tasya me astu. My dear Lord, let my attraction be to you, because you spoke Bhagavad-Gita to Arjuna in order to eradicate his ignorance. The Lord is so merciful, he spoke this wisdom of Bhagavad-Gita. So Bhishma Dev is remembering this. And then he's remembering that scene where Krishna is carrying that chariot wheel and he's running towards Bhishma to kill Bhishma. And Arjuna is holding the legs of Krishna, telling Krishna, Krishna, stop, Krishna, stop. Krishna is dragging Arjuna and taking him. Right? So Krishna is so desperate to kill Bhishma, is dragging Arjuna and is about to kill Bhishma. And even his Uttari, he's so absorbed, Krishna's Uttari falls away. So Bhishma is remembering this scene, right? Because even though apparently it appears that Krishna is angry on Bhishma Dev, but this was a reciprocation of love. Bhishma Dev wanted to see the Lord in that Virya Ras. So the Lord reciprocates. And then he says that let my attraction be towards the Lord who charged at me when he was so angry and he was wounded by my arrows. And then he says that Supreme Lord who was the chariot driver of Arjuna, Partha Sarthi, Vijaya Rata Kutumba Ata Totre, Dritahaya Rashmini Tat Chikirshaniye, Bhagavati Ratir Astume Mumushur, Yam Yiha Niriksha Hata Gata Swarupam. At the last moment, let my attraction be towards you, that Supreme Lord. You are the chariot driver of Arjuna. With a whip in your hand and the bridle rope in your left hand, you carefully protected Arjuna's chariot. So Bhishma Dev is glorifying Krishna as this Partha Sarthi. That Supreme Lord became the chariot driver of Arjuna, taking care of the chariot of Arjuna, taking care of the horses of Arjuna. Krishna holding a rope, the lagam of the horses. So Arjuna was fortunate because Krishna became the chariot driver of Arjuna. But Arjuna was seeing the back of Krishna. But Bhishma Dev was more fortunate. Bhishma Dev was seeing Krishna as Partha Sarthi. He was seeing the front of Krishna. So Bhishma Dev, captured all these images very deeply in his heart. And then he's remembering Vrindavan. Lalita Gati Vilasa Valguhasa Pranaya Nirikshana Kalpito Rumanaha Kritamanu Kritavatya Unmadha Prakriti Magan Kila Yasya Gopa Vadaha. Even though he's in Kurukshetra, even though his attraction is to Parthasarathi, but still he's thinking about Vrindavan, he's thinking about the gopis in his final moments, saying, let my mind be fixed on Krishna, whose motions and smiles attracted the gopis. The gopis initiated the rasa dance, right? And Krishna performed this Ras Leela. So Bhishma Dev is also remembering Vrindavan here. And then he's remembering Rajasuya Yagya, which happened in his presence, how Krishna was coronated and Krishna was given that final, the most important argya, and is respected by everyone as that supreme person of Godhead. So in this way, he speaks his entire heart. And then he finally says, Tam imam aham ajam sharira bhajam hridi hridi dushitam atma kalpitanam pratidrisham iva naikadarakam ekam samadhi gatosmi vidutta bheda moha. Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord Shri Krishna, who is now present before me, because I have transcended the conceptions of duality. Right? He is there in everyone's heart, but still he is come in front of me. So Bhishma Dev, in his final moment, he forgets all the other topics in this world, because all the topics in this world are duality: friends, enemies, pain, pleasure. So Bhishma Dev is above all that. So he's not bothered about all the pleasures. So when Arjuna makes Bhishma Dev fall down and he shoots all these arrows, Bhishma Dev is lying there and then he's feeling thirsty. So Duryodhan immediately sends some servants, get some water for Bhishma Dev in a golden pot. Bhishma Dev says, all that is over for me now. I'm like a sadhu now. My life is of austerity. I don't want water from all those facilities. So he stops drinking water from there. Arjuna shoots an arrow on the ground, and right from the ground, Ganga comes and Bhishma Dev drinks that. So he's gone beyond the comforts of pain, pleasure, all this duality. And he says that now let me focus on you. Srila Prabhupada was such a perfect example. Prabhupada, in his final moments in Vrindavan, there was only bones left in his body. He stopped drinking, he stopped eating, but his focus was Krishna. So the Goswamis showed this through their life. They reduced their eating, they reduced their sleeping, more and more thinking about Krishna and serving Krishna. So Bhishma Dev is showing all of us that this example that we need to focus more on the Lord. We have so many other affections in this world, so many other attachments in this world, but then slowly we need to give up and then increase our attachment to Krishna. And then Sutta Goswami says, after speaking all these verses, glorifying Krishna, seeing Krishna to his heart's content, Bhishma Dev stops to speak. He becomes silent. And there is silence everywhere. And everyone understands that Bhishma Dev has departed. This great personality who had Ichcha Maran, right? He departed from this world on this day, on the day of Bhishmashtami. And everyone became silent. Just like at the end of the day, all the birds become silent. So everyone became silent. And both the men and both the demigods, they started to beat drums, shower flowers as a respect of honor. Just like a soldier, when he dies, there are drums played, there are flowers that are thrown, a glorious death. So death is going to come for everyone. But this is what we need. We need a glorious death where people celebrate. So therefore, even disappearance day of Acharyas, we celebrate. Because these people have perfected their life and are showing us how to perfect death. So Bhishma Dev was so famous that everyone in the human society, even in the heavens, everyone respected Bhishma. Everyone is glorifying and throwing showers that such a great departure, such a great example. May all of us aspire for this. Everyone, even the demigods, were aspiring for such a death. So this is the perfection of Bhishma Dev's life, right? Respect. He was giving this final honor, the final respect for such a glorious life and for such a glorious death. So Prabhupada says here that Bhishmadev was unique in his activities, and his passing away to the kingdom of God is also unique. So Bhishmadev is showing all of us that how if we can live life trying to think of Krishna while carrying out our responsibilities, then we can achieve a unique life and we can also achieve a unique death. And after Bhishmadev passes away, Yudhishthir again feels so bad. The Pandavas feel so sorrow, because when you are in separation from a Vaishnava, you definitely feel sorrow. So the Pandavas, uh, Yudhishthir, they felt so much sadness, but they were also happy that Bhishmadev has perfected his life. He set a beautiful example. So they did the final rites for Bhishmadev. Even Krishna was there. Can you imagine Bhishmadev's fortune? Just like Jatayu's final rites was done by Lord Ram. Similarly, Bhishmadev, during his final rites, Lord Krishna was there personally. And after everything is over, all of them go to their own palaces, remembering Bhishmadev forever in their hearts. So, just like I told you, Krishna tells in the Gita, Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram. One should remember Krishna at the time of death. And that's only possible if we have practiced this throughout our life. So this departure of Bhishmadev is a great example for all of us, a great hope-giving example for all of us, that even though at the final moment we may not be able to go to the Lord, we may be in our own bed, we may not be in a bed of arrows, we may be in a bed of coma, we don't know where we may be, right? But if we can practice bhakti sincerely, just like Krishna came to Bhishmadev, Krishna will come to us also in our final moments. And then we too can have a very glorious death. So this is life, right? Dying, everyone dies. Cats also die, dogs also die. But to die means to die like Bhishmadev. This is the aspiration that we should all have, right? So we all should want this glorious death. Then our life is perfect. Right? So for that, we need to sincerely practice bhakti. Whatever difficulties come in life, whatever obstacles come in life, tolerating all that, chanting Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, this verse, Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So Prabhupada writes there, remembering Krishna means chanting the holy names of Krishna. So if you can throughout our life chant Hare Krishna, sincerely do our prescribed number of rounds, don't give up whatever come may. Bhishmadev in that bed of arrows, he could give a pravachan. Then can't we chant Hare Krishna? We go through some sickness, some little COVID, some this, some that, we give up chanting, right? We give up bhakti. Bhishmadev in that bed of arrows, in so much pain, he didn't give up bhakti, but he gave a pravachan. He inspired everyone and went. So this is a devotee. He preaches till the final moment. Till the final moment, he gives a class and goes. He preaches and goes. So it's a glorious example for us to meditate on. That's why Bhishmadev is a great Mahajan, a great hero for all of us. So today we can all pray to this great soul, Bhishmadev, that we also can live a very, very Krishna conscious life while carrying out our various responsibilities. And we too can have a glorious death and we can perfect our life. Thank you very much. Bhishmadev ki jai, Bhishmashtami Maha Mahotsav ki jai. Hare Krishna. Anyone has any questions, any comments? Yes, Param Dayalu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Prabhu.
Dandavad.
Prabhu, Bhishmadev, why he waited still the Uttarayana and Sukla Paksha, leaving the body? Even though he is the pure devotee of the Lord, in front of Lord Krishna, he can, at the time of Arjuna's arrows, at the time of also he can leave the body. Why he waited? Because of he think that he is not a pure devotee of the Lord, or
Yeah, it could be that. But more than that, I think Bhishmadev was waiting for the Lord. He was waiting for Lord Krishna to come. Right. So when Krishna came and he, carried out the orders of Krishna, he spoke all the knowledge to Yudhishthir. So in Krishna's presence, he left. So a devotee, Uttarayan and all these things are there, but a devotee's faith is more in Krishna. So when he sees that final moments have come, he knows that this is it. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, something interesting, when he was in his final days now, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, after Srila Prabhupada, he respected Tamal Krishna Maharaj, as his senior god brother. He would always take instructions from him. So he was actually thinking that, I have still not got indication that my final days has come. My few days are left. But one day what happened is, some disciples of Tamal Krishna Maharaj got the personal deity of Tamal Krishna Maharaj along with Tamal Krishna Maharaj's photo to see, so that Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj could have darshan. So when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj saw the deities of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and when he saw the photo of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he understood, my time has come. This is the perfect time. Tamal Krishna Maharaj is giving me orders and blessings to continue on. So similarly, when Bhishma Dev sees Krishna has come, he understood that, perfect, this is what I want. And he chose that time.
Prabhu, Krishna comes and I end, Prabhu.
Krishna comes, yeah. So what happens is, he comes twice. So basically, before Yudhishthir sits on the throne also, he's not ready to sit on the throne. So Krishna gets Yudhishthir there. That time Bhishma Dev convinces Yudhishthir, and then Yudhishthir sits on the throne. After that, again Yudhishthir comes. He hears from Bhishma Dev all his instructions, Raja Dharma, Kula Dharma, Stri Dharma, and all the duties he hears of a king. And then finally, after Yudhishthir has spoken everything, then again Krishna comes, because Krishna understands that now Bhishma's time has come. So couple of times Krishna has come back and forth, because Krishna was there in Hastinapur only. So he waits there for Bhishma Dev to depart, and then only he goes. So if you see the chapter 9 is passing away of Bhishma Dev, Bhagavatam. And chapter 10 is departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka. So Krishna waits in Hastinapur for one main reason, is to be there for the departure of Bhishma Dev. Only after Bhishma Dev departs, Krishna thinks that my role is over now, and he goes to Dwarka.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question? Comment? Vikram Tandilpur had a question. Was Gita heard by everyone along with Arjuna and Sanjay? According to my knowledge, it is Arjuna and Sanjay only who heard it. I'm not very sure whether Bhishma heard it. Could have. But as far as I have heard, it's Arjuna and Sanjay. Yes, but who?
Prabhuji, Bhishma Dev knew that Krishna is the Lord. Then still he chose to fight for the Kauravas.
Correct.
So he because he knew the Lord, he should have left the side of Kauravas and should have sided with the Krishna. Why did he do so? Even then we call him Mahajan.
Yeah, because you see, these great souls understand the plan of the Lord. So sometimes they side with someone, right? But that is also actually the plan of the Lord. So Prabhupada mentions that Krishna wanted to teach to Bhishma, however great a personality you are, if you are on the side of adharma, you will be vanquished. So that lesson Krishna wanted to teach through Bhishma. So Bhishma, knowing that this was the desire of the Lord, he remained that side. Right? Because that was what the Lord wanted. Right? The Lord wanted that the world understands that even if such a powerful personality like Bhishma is on the side of the Kauravas, still he will have to lose. So in one sense, Bhishma Dev's name gets spoiled, but he understands that this was the will of the Lord. Right? So therefore, in one verse, if you remember, Bhishma Dev realization is we cannot understand what the plan of the Lord is. It's very inconceivable what the Lord wants us to do. And just like we can't understand why Krishna does something, we can't even understand why the pure devotees do something, right? So we need to understand that they have some other higher connections, right? And that's why, see, if Bhishmadev was wrong, if Bhishmadev was against Krishna, would Krishna have come in his final moment? Krishna wouldn't have come here, na? Krishna sacrificed everything, 56 days being there, in the final moment. Will Krishna come like that to anyone? Through this we understand. So that's why in English there is a saying, now, all's well that ends well. So the final moment is something that's very important to understand what this life of this personality has been. Now, so if you want to rate the entire life of Bhishmadev, yes, definitely we can say that he did that mistake, he did this mistake, he sided the Kauravas. All that is okay. And he got his punishment for all that also. Arrow was pierced through every part of his body. That punishment he got, Bhishmadev, right? But still, in his heart, he was a devotee of Krishna, and Krishna didn't forget that. So the Lord may give some punishment to his devotees for even some apparent mistakes, but the Lord will never forget his devotees. He will never forsake his devotees. The Lord will never do it. And this example is like a very hope-giving example for all of us, that while practicing the path of bhakti, we may do some mistake here, some mistake there, but Krishna on the overall will never leave us. Krishna will never leave us. He will be there for us. Definitely he will be there for us.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay, one or two news. Actually, in our Tuesday Gita class, I don't know whether all of you all know, before we started the online class, we were having this Tuesday Gita class in Alfran Plaza. So there, Ajit Dinkar and his good wife Aarti Dinkar, both of them are doctors, elderly people. They would come for the satsang. They also come quite often in our online class. So Ajit Dinkar, he left his body today or yesterday probably. There was a funeral of his today. So, these, we will definitely pray for Ajit Dinkar ji that, wherever he is, he can attain a great destination. But it is also a lesson for all of us that time is clicking very fast, right? So whenever we hear such news, it's like a warning for all of us that we also need to become a little serious in spiritual life. So as we pray for Ajit Dinkar, who has been practicing Krishna consciousness to some extent, he was attending the classes. Whatever bhakti he has done will not be lost. Neha vikramanashtosti pratyavayo na vidyate shwalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So whatever bhakti he has done, it will not be lost. We pray to Lord Krishna that he attains a great destination. But also, it can be a message for all of us that we need to practice bhakti more sincerely, so that when that final moment comes to us, we can remember Krishna and we can have a glorious death like Bhishmadev. And we are also planning the Vrindavan Yatra. We have sent that poster across 10th to 16th April. So I would request all of you all to please join for this Yatra, if you all can come, right? Because taking such breaks and going to holy places is very, very important. Vrindavan is a very, very powerful place. This is the place where Krishna has been. Bhishmadev in his final moments, he's remembering Vrindavan. So just by going there, that place is so powerful, it can surcharge us abundantly. So going for yatras is very, very crucial. So if you all can come, please do consider it. We are planning like a 6-day yatra, excluding the travel. Once you all come for this yatra, you all will realize that 6 days is also very less. There is so much to see in Vrindavan, so many holy places. All the pastime places of Krishna are there. So if you all can make it, please try. The flight option is open, the train option is open. I think the poster is already sent across. The contact details are there. So please try to come also. Yeah, and also we are having the book reading class, which happens every Monday. So I think that poster is also there. So those who want to read Srila Prabhupada books, you all can please join for that. Right? So these are some few announcements. Thank you very much.